Hello, I'm Sandez Ray, and welcome to Drawing Dojo with Sandez Ray. And I'm J. Scott Naylor, and I will be doing this show with Sandez. This is a show where we're going to practice our drawing skills, and we're going to learn some wonderful tricks and gimmicks that hopefully will improve everyone's drawing. Now, if you're not from Minneapolis, you may wonder what's with the mask. I'm going to take this time for a brief introduction. Grab your drawing stuff, get a tablet, some blank paper, some pencils, some erasers, bring it all here. While you're gathering stuff, I'm going to blather on for a little bit about who I am and why I just unmasked. If you're from Minneapolis, you may know that Sandez Ray and J. Scott Naylor are the same person. But if you're from outside Minneapolis and you really like obscure comics and you have a good memory for names and you've actually heard of Sandez Ray, you probably think that he's a masked cartoonist whose identity has never been revealed. Well, it's being revealed here, and we're going to learn some things. I had some other things to say. This is going to be an unscripted show. Every episode will be unscripted. It will be off the cuff. There are not going to be any second takes. If I draw a complete train wreck here and it's horrible, I just won't use that clip. But if I'm struggling with it and I'm fixing it as I go and I'm having problems with it, I'm going to keep that in because I think you'll learn more from me struggling than you will from me just drawing pretty pictures. Okay, so the object here is not to show that I can draw pretty pictures, because I can, but to show that you can draw pretty pictures. So if you've got your tablets, got your paper and your pencils, let's get ready and let's start with something hard, because drawing hard is good. Are we ready? We're going to start with the human head. Now, are you ready? Pick up your pencils. The human head is basically an egg shape. Now, when you measure your head, the first thing you're going to realize is when you start taking measurements of your head is that your features are not where you think they are. You may think that your eyes are very high up, but your eyes are only about halfway up your head. If you see this, you can see that the eyes are only about halfway up the head. So we're going to make a line here. We're going to go about halfway on our egg and make a line here, and let's make it a double line for the eyes. Everybody with me, draw with me. Now, let's do a center line. This is an egg shape, it's rounded, so the center line should curve a little bit, something like that. Now, nose. First of all, before we go any further, let's make a box for our eyes. How do we know where the eyes are going to be, how big the eyes are going to be? I know how big the eyes are going to be once I set the size of the first eye, because look at this very carefully. This is the size of your eye. This is the size in between your eyes. There's one eye space in between your two eyes. So if you have three eyes, if you have three boxes here that are all the same size, and use the middle one for the space, then you know exactly where your eyes are. Now, we need to come down, and for now we're going to eyeball where the nose is. Eyeball means look at, and place a line where we think the bottom of the nose should be. Then we're going to place a line, not for the mouth, we're going to place a line for the top and the bottom of the mouth. Okay, now, everybody's with me so far? We're going to start right in on the side of the head here. Let's firm up this line here. Make a curved line down here until we get to there. And we're going to make a brow ridge. The brow ridge is this part of your skull that stands out here. Let's make a brow ridge on either side. Okay? Everybody there, and we're going to make some cheekbones. Cheekbones generally point towards the mouth. If there was an invisible line measuring your cheekbones, they would generally come down and point towards your mouth. So for cheekbones, we're remembering the mouth is down here. We got cheekbones in here. Chin, the chin is basically a square underneath the mouth. So we're going to come in here, and because this is slightly at an angle, this line comes down here. And this, we're going to have the back of the jaw here. This line comes down here. We can see that the ears are actually about halfway back. Okay, the ears are further back. The general rule of thumb, ears are further back than you think they are. So if we divide it this way, and where does the ear go? The ear lines up with what? There's all sorts of variation. Let me just say right now that there's all sorts of variation in human beings. Some people have big eyes, some have little eyes, some have really high ears, some have droopy ears. You know, they're all wonderful. There's no right or no wrong, but what we're creating here is from our own imagination. So we're going to create a very average person. And ears are very typically line up with the eyes, the top of the eyes, and the mouth. Most people's ears line up with the mouth and somewhere around their eye region. So an ear is a hooked line that comes in like that and then changes direction and goes like that. Now, let's just start working this up as we go. This is our basis for drawing. And we're going to work this up as we go and turn it into something. But first I'm going to do something here on the side. We're going to learn how to draw an eye. The important thing about the eye is the axis. Okay, now what do I mean by axis? The axis, oops, there's my 6th grade education again. The axis of the eye is very important, and I want you to start looking for this as you go through your life. Just look for the axis of the eye. What do I mean by the axis? What the axis is on anything is a line that goes from top to bottom, from the high point to the low point. So when we look at it, we know that an eye is like this, but we know an eye is round like this. But we also know that an eye is covered with an eyelid. Okay, you only see part of it. So what we're going to do is look for the lines that define the eye, not the eyeball underneath, but the lines that define the eye. And we're going to look for the axis. Now let's say we're drawing a typical Caucasian male here. Okay, we're going to start with do this on the side of your head, don't do it on your head yet. We're going to start with a line that goes like that. Okay, and now we're going to do another line that goes like this. Everybody got that? Here's the high point, right here. Okay, and then we're going to come down a little. Come down a little. So it looks like that, more or less. Now, come in beneath this line there. Make another more or less straight line, slightly curved here, over to here, and bring it up. Okay, and then we're going to put in that. Now this is actually a very flat eye, as we can see. And what's wrong with this, let's fix it and make it better, is that we got the axis like right here, or possibly even there, and we need to firmly put it there. So let's change that part, and we will make this come up higher there. And that is a more correct shape for eye. The axis on the Caucasian eye should generally run in this direction. Now, the axis on the Asian eye and on other types of eye is going to be different, but there's basically 3 types of eyes. Do you ever wonder why an Asian eye looks Asian? Okay, what is it? They're all different. All their eyes are different, and yet you immediately recognize that there's something profoundly different besides the color or the length of the lashes. Okay, it's the axis. Okay, there's 3 types of axes. If we have an axis that's going more up and down, or going this way, this would be, one of these would be well, I won't say there's no such thing as a typical eye, but if you're not Caucasian, you might have an axis that goes more straight up and down. In that case, we're going to make another line like this. Let's make another line like that, and let's make the high point at the top this time. And again, I have to shorten this line a little. I did too much. But there's a change in direction there. Put the high point at the top, and then cheat it down a little like that. Okay, and then we're going to come in here, make it more or less flat, cheat it up like that, make the little thing in the corner of your eye. Now, when you're doing the eye, don't always leave it blank like that. There's a lot of ways you can do it. You can dot it, or what I prefer is you can sort of half moon it, because that looks like there's a highlight. People who read a lot of manga and watch a lot of anime shows know that eyes can have highlights. They could have all these big gloopy highlights that manga artists like to put in them. And this is the standard Caucasian. This is the, I won't call it standard, but this is one of the variations on Asian or Pacific Islander. And then the other eye is the exotic eye. Now there are actually people who have exotic eyes. It's a real thing. And that's when the axis goes in this direction, opposite of the Caucasian. So let's again make a little line like this. And let's this time put our high point somewhere over here, facing in this direction, and then cheat it down a little bit. Okay, again, come in underneath that, more or less flat, go up to it, so that the low point should be here, and the high point should be up here. This is an exotic eye, and we put the little nub in, and then we put the eyeball itself in. Now, the exotic eye is the ideal of feminine beauty. Why do I say that? Why would the exotic eye be the ideal of feminine beauty? I say that only because the makeup industry, the fashion industry, they all agree that the exotic eye is the ideal of feminine beauty. And why do I say that? If you learn how to put on eye makeup, if you were 14 years old and you're reading Vogue magazine, there's a little article in there, how to put on glamorous makeup. What they're going to tell you is, well, first thing, if you're going to be glamorous, you need some big lashes, which are back in style. So let's make some big lashes here. But if you're going to be glamorous, where would you put that eye makeup on? You put it on so that the darkest part is here, and then you can add a second color or you can fade it towards the eye. What they're doing with this eye makeup is that they are, if you have a standard eye, like this standard Caucasian eye, like many people have, most Caucasian people have this eye, and a lot of people who aren't Caucasian also have this eye. If you have this eye and you put your lashes on it, and then you add eye makeup that runs in that direction so that the dark part is over here, what you're doing is you're creating an illusion. You're creating an illusion that your eye, that the axis of your eye is running this way instead of the way it's actually running, which is that way. So the purpose of eye makeup is to take this eye and make it be shaped more like that eye. And that's why I say that this eye shape, I call it the exotic eye, is the standard of feminine beauty. I didn't decide that. That's what the fashion industry says. There are people who actually do have the exotic shape whose axis actually does run in that direction. And so all of these eyes are correct, but it's important to look for where your axis is to know what type of eye you're trying to make before you make it. Okay, so now with this man, I'm going to call him a man already because I've already decided we're going to do just a very standard Caucasian man here. So let's get some of this smuts out of the way, get some of those out of the way, and let's do, again, get back on your face and do that line. And then the high point has to be up here somewhere. Now cheat it down. Now start over here, cheat it up, make the dot, and make it finish off your eye. I don't want to go too fast because I do want you to follow along. Now once you have that eye, then you can, there's always a little indentation in the skin there, and we can add, if we want to, a little bit of the eyelid. I don't want to. I changed my mind. Oops, I'm ruining it. Okay, so let's just add a little bit, and then let's do the same thing over here. Start with this line. Now beware, you want to make a one eye width in between these eyes. Okay, so beware that middle eye. There's an eye width in between. Start with this, go up above, cheat it down a little bit. Now come back, almost flat, up like that, make the little dot. Let's make the little indentation under the eye, and let's put it like that. Okay, little half moons in there make it look like he's alive. He's alive, like he has something going on. And we might put a little bit of the eyelid in there. Okay, like that. Now, nose. Here's our nose line. When we look at our nose, I want you to think of the nose as, first start with the diamond idea. We all know how to draw a diamond. Okay, now if you make the diamond, if you make it longer on top and shorter on the bottom, right then already you're getting very close to the nose shape. The nose shape, let me get a different color here, because I think it'll work better if I can show you in two colors. If we have a diamond like this, how do we make that into a nose shape? We're going to make a diamond right here, basically, diamond type shape. You don't have to connect it like this, but make it like that to show you where the nose is. If we were to put nostrils on this diamond, and then put this part down here, you can see that it starts to turn into a nose. Okay, and then if there was shadow on it, we could put some, this is the part that's underneath. Let's do this in reality. It'll be easier than trying to explain it. Okay, so you put a diamond shape in here where your nose is. Taller on the top, flatter on the bottom. Okay. Now, taking that diamond shape, I want you to take the bottom side and turn it into this. Put that right there on one side, nice and dark. And I have mine too far over because it should be more over here. Now, come up above to the top. Okay, come over here. Stay with me. Got this big line here and a little mark there. Now we're going to do come over here and do a nostril. See that? See this shape? Nostril shape. Okay. A nostril could be a lot of shapes. Sometimes you don't want to show it all black. Sometimes you might show it like that. And sometimes you might want it to be black, and sometimes you might just want it to be a line. A lot of it depends on how close the face is to you. The further away it is, the less detail it has. So, let's come down here. This connects down here. I'm going to erase as I go. Okay. This connects down here. And now we were left off there. We're going to come back up. And that comes around. Okay, so you got like a C connecting to that nostril. And we need another nostril on the other side. It's very important to remember that the nose is not flat. See, on my nose, it's higher here than it is here. This is the low point. The nostrils are higher. If you draw it flat across the bottom, it won't look right. So let's indicate where the nostril is on the other side. And let's show a little bit of that too. That's going to be in shadow. And then let's connect this. We're going to connect this, and my arm might get in the way, but then I will step back. Let me try and do it from, come up here where your eyes are and go in between them. Okay. Now, make lines to show where your nose is going to start, where it turns into the brow. And then connect them. Not with a straight line. Okay, see, I bowed that line out a little bit. Noses aren't full, human faces in general are not full of straight lines. Okay, so there we have the top side of the nose, and of course there's a bottom side too, down in here. We can't forget that this all connects together. Okay, now we're starting to get places on our drawing. Now, mouth. You can see the drawing beginning to take shape now. I'm going to take those mouth lines out of there, but you use the mouth lines to show your top and bottom. Come down beneath the bottom of your nose and make a little V. Everybody have a little V? Make a little V. Just eyeball it. You're going to hear me say eyeball it a lot. It means just estimate it. Okay? Oops. And let's make this mouth. Once we got the V, let's come down a little bit. Now remember, everything is going to be shorter on this side because he's turned a little bit in that direction. So we're going to shorten up a little bit, just a touch, just subtly on that side, and this side is going to be a little bit longer. And here's our mouth. He's very neutral and not decided yet if he likes this. We're drawing a man, so let's move straight to the lower lip after we do this. You see I made a little curve there, try not to go too fast, and then we come up. I'm exaggerating, but the lip is not straight across. Try and make a shape like this. Now, on a man, unless it's a close-up, if we're doing a line drawing in ink, we might not want to draw in the top lip. Sometimes it's a subjective judgment you'll have to make. Sometimes if you draw in the top lip, the man, it's overemphasizing the lips, and the man might look a little feminine. That's all right, but just to show you how to do it, make another U on top of the one U, the sort of flattened out, run over U's. And we're going to come back and connect not all the way to the end, short of the end. The mouth goes further than the lip in general. Now, let's give them a little on the corners there. Now, having gotten this much of the face, I can now see everything that's wrong with the outline of the head. Okay, so let's change this to suit. Let's bring this line in. Let's work, I'm going to move these eyes for now. Let's work from the brow ridge. We've got the beginnings of the face. Let's use that as our basis for the head shape. Okay. We're going to work completely superficially here. We're going to work from the brow ridge. Make a line there, and make another line there. Now your brow ridge actually comes across, and is actually a thing in your skull that you can see on a skull like that. But we don't really need these lines in here. I'm not going to emphasize that part of his brow, but that's where it is. And then let's come up here with the curved line for the forehead. Okay? And so, now that we got that,